Give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting. A movement of people, it's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, I best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be riches that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. When we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanize so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen.
Good things happen in time. Indeed, you are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm your host and White House correspondent, Dr. Nii-Quartelai, reporting for duty. It is lovely to be back in the beautiful city of Angels with all of you in afternoon drive time. But whether I'm in LA, DC, or anywhere in between, I'm always in touch. And so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and I pop right on up fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you will never miss an episode. We work very hard around here to curate this show for you each and every day, providing you with a peek behind the political headlines that are trending across the country, but also featuring the voices, elevating the voices of leaders on the front lines and people shaping the culture. And speaking of people shaping the culture, I just want to give a shout out again to our friends over at Walk Good LA, because they are shaping the culture of health and wellness, not just here in the city of Los Angeles, but across the nation. Walk Good LA is a powerful demonstration of what's possible. Shout out to Etienne Maurice and Ivy Coco for all the great work that they're doing. Have you heard about the People's Pace? It is a 5K and 10K run walk on September 21st at Kenneth Hahn Park. Your race, your pace. It's just that simple. Walk Good LA is inviting all of us to Kenneth Hahn Park on September 21st, for our annual 5K, 10K run walk fundraiser. This isn't just a race, as they say. It's a movement. It's a movement to bring the city of LA together. It's open to all ages and, more importantly, all paces. And we celebrate every step in stride. That's what they say. Registration is officially open, and early signups, come close. Early signups, they get a special discount, but only until July 28th. And so don't wait. Head to the link in their bio on Instagram. You can go to @WalkGoodLA. Again, your registration includes a bib, t-shirt, and a medal. Follow Walk Good LA to stay up to date with all the announcements related to this run walk. And so, look, we're all about celebrating wellness in every form. We can't become a more perfect union if we're not well. And so thank you to Walk Good LA for all the great work that you're doing. Now, it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, the Los Angeles Times is reporting that all eyes are on Ghislaine Maxwell, as long as one of the longtime Epstein aides that's seeking prison relief. Uproar, of course, over the Trump administration's handling of the files from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. They continue to grip Washington, prompting the Justice Department today to schedule an unusual meeting with Epstein's top confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, and the House Oversight Committee to move to subpoena her. The House Oversight Committee is moving to subpoena her testimony amid bipartisan calls for transparency in the case. The renewed focus on Maxwell comes amid persistent questions over Trump's years-long friendship with Epstein. Epstein, as in the late and disgraced financier whose sprawling sex trafficking ring victimized more than 200 women and girls, that Epstein. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison for her role in perpetuating one of the most expansive sex trafficking rings in modern U.S. history. It is the first time that the Justice Department has approached Maxwell's counsel for a meeting. That's according to the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who wrote in a statement that he would take the meeting himself to ask, "What do you know?" Now, if I remember correctly, Todd Blanche used to be a personal lawyer for President Trump. It's getting real personal, real fast, just saying. Speaking of things moving pretty quickly, ABC News is reporting that Columbia University disciplines at least 70 students who took part in campus protests. Columbia University confirmed in a statement today that it was punishing students who participated in the protests at the school's Butler Library, where at least 80 people were detained, as well as similar demonstrations during its annual alumni weekend last year. Columbia said that it would not release the individual disciplinary results of any student, but it said that sanctions from Butler Library included probation, suspension, ranging from 1 to 3 years, degrees being revoked, and expulsions. Columbia University Apartheid Divest, which is a student group advocating for the university to divest its ties to Israel, said in a news release that nearly 80 students were informed Monday afternoon that they would be suspended for 1 to 3 years or expelled for participating in protests in May. The student group claimed that the disciplinary letters required suspended students to submit apologies to the university to return to campus or face expulsion. So That's what's going down at Columbia University. When we come forward, we're going to dig into that and more with one of our resident political contributors, Dr. Jonathan Collins, who happens to be assistant professor of political science at Columbia University. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Why, thank you. Yeah.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
This is Secret Clinical Dominating Extra Stinky Stress Sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hit me! National News The Consequence. Informed opinion and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm delighted to be back in conversation with Dr. Jonathan Collins. He's an assistant professor of political science at the Columbia University. He's also a More Perfect Union political contributor. We are so glad to have you back. How are you, Dr. Collins?
And doing well, and you're wearing very familiar merchandise for me as well.
I knew who I was talking to today. For the people who are streaming on YouTube, what am I wearing exactly, Dr. Collins? What you know about this?
All I have to say is ever true. That is a hoodie with the crest of Brown University, my former employer.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yes, yes.
And you know, and it's
for folks who don't
hard
know,
to
I was a
find-
professor at Brown University. Also.
And let me just say, it's hard to find brown on brown on brown. Catch it. Catch it. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, speaking of universities, you know, you're at Columbia University. I've got to get your reaction. This NBC News story about Columbia disciplining at least 70 students who took part in campus protests. Can you give us some flavor? You know, what is what are you hearing from alumni? What are you hearing from students? Obviously, it's summertime, and so you know, campus, you know, ain't jumping like it is during the spring or fall. But you know, what's been the reaction, at least the early reaction, to the decision by the university?
Well, it's been a mixed bag. It's tough to say because, like you said, it's the summertime. The hallways are pretty quiet. A lot of our undergraduate students are away doing internships. There are some around that are taking courses, but the campus isn't on fire like it is during the academic year. So honestly, a part of this is strategy on the university's part. Let's slip this news out while things are calm, and when we can't see the kind of major reaction that we'll see from students. As you know, Dr. Q, it's been crazy around here the last couple of years. All right, we've had the encampments on the main lawn. We've had students occupy multiple buildings on campus, and so it's definitely a situation where the university has to tread lightly. There's also the whispers around campus about just the distaste of for the administration's decision to continuously acquiesce to the desires of the Trump administration. And I think, you know, folks at Columbia have been looking over at Harvard, that a university that has been taking legal action against the Trump administration. They've been standing up. They've been raising money on their donor base, alumni. They've also even had faculty be willing to take pay cuts to allow the university to inoculate itself from the short, immediate withholding of funds that comes along with, you know, fighting the good fight against the administration. We haven't seen that here, and I think again, the decision to release this information now is a part of the university strategy.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm sure you'll keep your finger, you know, on the pulse as we continue to monitor reaction, not just from Columbia University's campus, but a number of universities. We know that a number of students are on summer break, but you know, in about a month or so, folks will start to come back to campus, and whatever new policies are in place, whatever new expectations that are set in terms of student conduct, in terms of campus climate, in terms of where you know, administrations will hold the line. You know, all of that is going to be up for interpretation at the very least come this fall. But moving from New York City to the nation's capital, where NBC News is reporting that the House of Representatives, has canceled the last day of votes before summer break as Epstein consumes Capitol Hill. The GOP-controlled House is cutting short its last work week before summer recess because of a fight on Capitol Hill over the release of the government files on the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The House was scheduled to hold votes on Thursday before lawmakers departed for their 5-week recess. Speaker Johnson even told reporters on Monday night that he wouldn't send lawmakers home earlier this week. And Obviously, he's changed his tune on that. But Republican leaders informed the rank and file today that the final vote of the week would be a day earlier on Wednesday afternoon. Why are these Republicans running so hard away from the Epstein files? I mean, Epstein does he really have this much influence on Donald Trump and the Republican Party from the grave? Dr. Collins, what say you? We're waiting for Dr. Collins' sound to come to unmute. And so as soon as we can get Dr. Collins unmuted, Dr. Collins, can you hear us?
I can.
Go
Can
right
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes, we can. Go right ahead.
No.
Yep, we can hear you.
I was saying, you can hear me?
Yes.
I was saying that if you look at a lot of the polling that's been coming out about the Epstein files and how the American people feel about it, that it kind of keys you into the answer, which is that Republicans as a whole are very divided on this. It's almost a 50-50 split in terms of Republicans who see this as a big deal and Republicans who see this as a non-issue whatsoever. And so what we've seen with Trump is that he's been essentially trying to grow that critical mass of support, because this is one of the few times where we've even seen that clean split. Every other issue that Trump has been at the forefront of since this most recent presidency, he's been Teflon. Every issue that he touches, his base just uniformly gets behind him. The fact that we're even seeing 49% of Republicans express some level of concern about the Epstein situation, this says that like, oh, wait, there's a potential weakness here. And I think what you're seeing is with Republicans, they're looking at the divide and they're saying, hey, we don't know if we can actually just follow the Trump, ride the Trump wave on this one. This looks like something where we need to protect ourselves and against a potential backlash from the base, especially when we have to think about, well, what's the future of the Republican Party after Donald Trump? The Epstein file issue, as crazy as it sounds, this might be the first issue where Republican leaders have to start thinking about the next chapter of their party.
And the other issue that they might have to start thinking about are some of these accusations around Obama manufacturing intel on Russia. This is sort of the latest attempt to change the conversation from the Epstein files, the release of the Epstein files, and the unwillingness of the Department of Justice to do that. And it seems that President Trump is grasping at everything possible. Just before we went on air today, Dr. Collins, USA Today reported that President Obama stands by his intelligence conclusion that Russia tried to influence the 2016 election. Former president said today that he stood by the U.S. intelligence community. And Obama was hitting back at a report released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence on July 18th, which claimed to demonstrate how the former president and his national security cabinet had, quote, manufactured and politicized intelligence to lay the groundwork for what was essentially a year-long coup against Donald Trump after he had defeated Hillary Clinton in 2016. Trump earlier in the day also accused President Obama of treason during an Oval Office meeting with the Philippines president, calling him a, quote, ring leader and his actions seditious. Dr. Collins, what do you make of this?
Well, first, have you seen this video that Trump is circulating on Truth Social?
I saw it. And for our leaders, learners, and listeners who are less familiar, describe it.
So Trump finds this AI I hope he found this. I hope he did not order someone on his team to make this, but that in and of itself honestly warrants an investigation. But there is an AI generated video that starts with President Obama and President Trump sitting in the White House having a conversation, which is true. So this was an image from when President Obama went to the White House to meet with President Trump during the transition back in 2016. But they turned that image into a video where, after a few seconds of conversation, FBI agents suddenly run in, swarm President Obama, and arrest him, put him in handcuffs, and perp walk him out of the Oval Office, with Trump sitting next to him and just smiling in agreement. Then transitioning to President Obama in an orange jumpsuit, pacing behind bars in his jail cell. Right? Mm-hmm. This is the level of propaganda that President Trump is now spreading. And so when we talk about, there's one thing to have the Attorney General's office conduct its own investigation into the 2016 election to try to reverse the narrative, although the evidence on that was sound. It was obvious that there was Russian interference. That was honestly one of the clearest claims that came from that whole like the Comey report and everything that was going on when we looked into the 2016 election, right? Cambridge Analytica, all that stuff is very clear. Still, okay, you want to change that narrative, that's one thing. To go and actually circulate imagery of the former president of the United States being arrested and detained and placed in a penitentiary, and that's just one of multiple doctored images of Democratic leaders that he posted and circulated on Truth Social. So I'm very disturbed by Trump's vindictiveness right now. Right. It's going past just initiating investigations. He's sending out images that are extremely dangerous.
Extremely dangerous, and we here are doing our part to call that part out, to say the quiet part out loud. When we come forward, we're digging even deeper into some of the day's biggest headlines that are trending across the country. We're actually going behind the deadline, the headlines, with one of the best and brightest to do it, Dr. Jonathan Collins of Columbia University. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. New York City is adding 5,000 after-school seats for K-5 students this fall. Black Mayor Eric Adams says the $21 million investment moves the city closer to universal free after-school programs.
Participate in sports, robotics, the arts, tennis lessons, all of those things that children should enjoy after the classroom experience.
The 40 schools were chosen based on need. Rapper Rick Ross is finally addressing his viral 2021 walkout on the 85 South show, saying he left mid-interview because he did it, quote, for free, end quote, and had other things to do. DC Young Fly responded, noting stars like T.I., Boosie, Busta Rhymes, and Snoop Dogg also appeared for free. And the Trump administration has released 230,000 documents on Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. King was killed in Memphis on April 4th, 1968. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Griffith Park on the South 5. You're on the brakes leaving Colorado all the way to the 605 in Eagle Rock on the southbound side of the 2. A crash coming up on Colorado, kind of low on details, but it's blocking lanes and really jamming up traffic. South 2 loading up, coming up on the 134 freeway. The 134 East connector to the 2 South also just jam-packed right now. Pasadena, eastbound 210. Delays from Lincoln. You remain on the brakes and stretches all the way to Citrus.
Is it time for a new job? Then it's time for Express Employment Professionals. Quit the endless online job search. Enlist the pros. Let a local recruiter from one of their 870 locations help. And Express never charges job seekers a fee. Go to expresspros.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams conducted their first day of training camp today at Loyola Marymount University. The first open practice for fans will be Thursday. This is the first time in 8 years the Rams are starting a training camp without Cooper Kupp, the all-pro receiver signing with Seattle as a free agent. The Rams have a pretty good replacement for Kupp. They signed 12-year veteran Devontae Adams, a 6-time Pro Bowler. Before signing veteran point guard Chris Paul on Monday, Clippers management asked James Harden if he was okay with Paul joining the team. Harden said he was cool with it. The Clippers wanted to be sure. Harden and Paul were teammates for 2 seasons with the Houston Rockets from 2017 to 2019. There were reports that Harden and Paul did not get along at times because both wanted to be the dominant ball handler. Apparently, things are all good today. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Come to At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey! I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least liked to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and we're joined with Dr. Jonathan E. Collins. He is a professor at Columbia University in the Political Science Department. He's also a More Perfect Union political contributor. Dr. Collins, you know, I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about the magic of Theo Huxtable. As yesterday, we all got some sad news that we weren't prepared to hear. Malcolm Jamal-Warner, the actor who portrayed Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, died in an accidental drowning in Costa Rica, and he will be forever missed. But I want to take a moment to just talk about his legacy. His legacy, as much as he was a fan favorite, the character of Theo Huxtable was also a political figure. And I want to give you a chance to sort of stretch out and situate Theo Huxtable in what will be the enduring legacy of Malcolm Jamal-Warner.
Well, first, my heart goes out to Malcolm Jamal-Warner's family. When I saw the news, I was shocked. I was heartbroken, and there's been a public community of us that have just been heartbroken by this tragedy. And so when we start to talk about what Malcolm Jamal-Warner's legacy is, his character Theo Huxtable was in its time, for its time, in its own way, an incredibly radical avant-garde character, right? Because so in the 1980s, you didn't see very many Black folks on television, especially young Black males, as primary leading characters in a television show during that period of time. And in the 80s on into the 90s, when you did see younger Black males as leading characters, they tend to be more degenerate type of characters. They were either underdeveloped, they didn't have layers, they didn't have depth, and they usually were more stereotypical. They were aggressive, angry, into crime, drugs, gangs. This was the first time that we really saw a young Black male character who was fully formed and just allowed to be human. And it was so transformative for so many of us that got to watch it. It's eerie that this happens, because I'd actually started to go back and watch Cosby episodes, because, leaders, learners, listeners, for those of you who don't know, I am a father. I have 2 beautiful daughters. Shout out to Breeze and Charm. And parenting is hard, and there's no guidebook for it. But the Cosby Show, I read that Bill Cosby actually consulted with developmental psychologists when constructing the show, and a big part of this was like showing affirmative types of parenting. And so I wanted to see, how did Cliff and Claire handle these situations that were challenging with their kids. And the relationship between Cliff and Theo was one of the most exemplary relationships between father and son that you will ever see on television. There was no violence. There was no negative shaming. It was humor. It was love. It was care, and it was allowing Theo, who also, we learned that he was neurodivergent, right? He was diagnosed with dyslexia, and that didn't get in the way of him becoming a college graduate and even becoming a successful teacher. And so there's just so much that we can learn about, like, how we as Black men can be free through the character of Theo Huxtable. And this is a seismic loss. What say you, Dr. Q? I'm really curious what you have to say about it.
Well, I mean, part of what prompted me to raise this question with you was a piece that I read in the Washington Post entitled "The Magic of Theo." I want to encourage our leaders, learners, and listeners to check out that piece by Robin Gavon. One of the paragraphs in that piece reads, "Theo was a Black child whom audiences watched move through adolescence to become a Black young man. He got to be those things, to your point, Dr. Collins, joyfully. In this television version of life, Theo was allowed to make mistakes and to recover from them without falling into great peril. He rebelled against his parents' rules. He had knucklehead best friends. He was infatuated with girls. He struggled in school, and he overcame his hurdles. And so I think for so many of us, it feels like we lost not just somebody that we respected and admired as an artist, but it feels like we lost a member of our family. It's a very special relationship to grow up alongside, this fictional character turned, real person. My oldest brother, David, particularly when he was younger, resembled Theo Huxtable.
Oh, really?
And so, at times when we would be out and about, like people would do a little bit of a double take, particularly in the 80s and 90s. Him and Malcolm Jamal-Warner had a very similar build and look. And so my real brother reminded me of Theo in some ways. And of course, Malcolm Jamal-Warner, the artist that gave us Theo, of course, is going to remind us of Theo. And so it feels a little strange to me that Malcolm Jamal-Warner has now moved on to be with the ancestors. But I think his art will endure. His legacy will endure. I'm so glad that, young fathers like you with, 2 kids, and I think 1 on the way.
No, don't put that on me.
Oh,
I'm broke enough.
Okay, all right. I didn't have a dream or anything like that. But it's so good that young fathers, can go and reference these old episodes till the end of time, and be inspired and be moved. And we're all going to really miss Malcolm Jamal-Warner's work. But his legacy surely endures. When we come forward, we're going to switch gears. Another famous son is tearing up the internet, tearing up these internet streets. I'm talking about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden has done a few interviews, and he has had a lot to say. Let me tell you something. Hunter Biden has been saying the quiet part out loud this week, and we're going to share a little bit of that. We'll get Dr. Collins' reaction. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Talk about.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease or AD. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? You may be able to reduce your risk by managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure, being physically active, eating healthy, and exercising your mind. To learn more about AD, the importance of early diagnosis and intervention, and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We face tragedy, but
we don't fall into despair.
we continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Look, these internet streets are talking. They are talking, and they're talking a lot about Hunter Biden, who has unloaded in these interviews. The New York Times reporting that in a pair of podcast appearances over the past several days, Hunter Biden, the son of former President Joe Biden, appears to be trying to settle the score with Democrats that he sees as having contributed to his father's political undoing. Hunter Biden delivered a broad critique of the party last week on the debut episode of a podcast hosted by Jamie Harrison, the former DNC chair, arguing that Democrats lost the 2024 election because they didn't remain loyal to his father. Then, in a separate 3-hour podcast, in which case I'm almost about halfway through it, I was watching it and listening to it on a flight last night to LA. Hunter Biden names names. He unleashes a profane tirade against a host of perceived enemies, including senior Biden aide Anita Dunn, Democratic strategist David Axelrod and James Carville, the Obama administration alumni who built Crooked Media, a booming liberal podcast network for people who are less familiar, as well as CNN host Jake Tapper and actor George Clooney. Here's a taste, just a taste of what Hunter Biden had to say.
Only person that he would ever endorse out of the gate, because he chose her as his vice president. There's no choice in that. And by the way, I love Kamala Harris. I think that she would have made an incredible president. I know that she was an incredibly loyal vice president, and she did everything that she could to support my dad, everything, and to support me and my family personally. I mean, I truly love her like family. And I think that she would have made an incredible president, and I think she ran an incredible campaign. You know who did not want Kamala Harris to be president and did not want her to be the nominee? Nancy Pelosi didn't want her to be. None of Nancy Pelosi's people wanted her to be. They wanted an open convention. They wanted a floor fight. They wanted I don't know what the hell they wanted, but they wanted to be the ones to anoint whoever they were going to anoint to become the next president of the United States.
Who do you think that would have been?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have any idea. All I know is that they definitely did not want Kamala Harris. And again, which undermined her, which undermined the campaign. You know, I mean, I look at these people and talk about like, well, where were they? We had 100 days. She got 100. She literally was handed $100 million check. She ran her ass off. She had an incredible organization, incredible grassroots organization. David Plouffe took over the campaign. You know, what did they do? Where did they spend their money?
Those camo hats, they thought were going to make the kids go crazy, but most of the kids are pretty Palestine pills.
Look, I'm.
Whoa. That's just a taste, everybody. That was a clip from the 3-hour interview that Hunter Biden did. Dr. Collins, what's your immediate reaction to all that stuff that Hunter needed to get off of his chest? I mean, that's enough material for the quiet part out loud for the rest of the week.
Dr. Q, you are Ghanaian. And if you go to Accra, it's 90 plus degrees, and you'll eat jollof rice, and it'll burn your body. And that's nowhere near as spicy as this interview was. This was crazy. This was crazy. You didn't even play the craziest part.
We're saving the crazier part for the next hour, but yes.
Like this was all the spicy emojis. All the spicy emojis. This was so okay. We'll stick with what we have right now. I'm gonna calm down, right? And just a former president's son, who himself was at the center of controversy for pretty much the second half, arguably the entire, but definitely the second half of the Biden presidency. His son is taking clear aim at the center of the power structure of the Democratic Party, right? He called David Plouffe and all the Obama Pod Save America guys basically one-hit wonders. He said, y'all got one jam. And y'all think y'all should be running the Democratic Party and y'all should be looking down on President Biden's performance on the campaign trail. George Clooney as a donor and a voice within the Democratic Party. What are you talking about? What do you know here? I mean, he took I respect the decision. It's thinking back to our last segment about the relationship between son and father. I respect him for coming out and publicly defending President Biden's record, especially given the book that Jake Tapper just co-wrote, where they basically threw President Biden's decision to at least continue to run up until the point that he did. They threw that decision under the bus and killed him for it, right? Something else that comes up in the interview is he also suggests that one of the reasons why, or the main reason why President Biden struggled in that debate that ended up being the turn of the campaign was that he was sort of like heavily under the influence of Ambien.
Right? Talk about breaking news.
Out loud, Dr.
What?
Quiet.
The president was on an Ambien? What?
I'm just like, Hunter, an easier explanation was right there. It was like 6 o'clock Pacific time when they had that debate. It was late. Biden's old. Like we could have went. You had the president being heavily medicated under all the spicy emojis, Dr. Q. I can't. This interview is the car wreck that creates the gooseneck traffic. You just cannot stop watching.
I think you're right. I think you're right. But also, there's a part of me that wonders, is this a part of what the Democrats need in order to heal? I've got to say, this is probably the most unvarnished interview that I've heard from a Biden, period. Right? I mean, let's just go ahead and give Hunter that award. And I think there are a number of Democrats, particularly Democratic elites, who will dismiss these interviews because of Hunter's struggles with addiction. Because, they see him as sort of, the kid that couldn't quite get it together, couldn't quite keep it on the straight and narrow. And look, the first hour of that 3-hour interview, I was surprised at how much he talked about his addiction in no uncertain terms. I learned more about crack in watching the first hour of that interview than I heard in that Diane Sawyer interview with Whitney Houston.
Somebody on the internet said it was like listening to Oppenheimer talk about the atom bomb. Like he was that precise.
He was that precise.
Down.
Dr. Collins, I've never seen anything quite like that. And so I think the fact that he was willing to spend so much time and to go in so much depth, sort of sharing his wounds with the audience, right? And, talking about his struggles with the audience, by the time he gets to his critique of Democratic Party elite, right? He's put the audience in a different space. He has ingratiated himself to the audience in a different way. I mean, there are a lot of folks, from the comments I've seen on social media that are like, where'd this guy come from? Right? We didn't know that Hunter Biden was Yale educated. We didn't know until this interview, at least I didn't know, that Hunter Biden was, the chair of UNICEF and UNESCO, was very active when it comes to humanitarian issues for a long time. We're talking about like board leadership roles, right? Who knew that,
and
right?
NGOs too. We're talking about he's doing global work. He's doing
yeah. And so what's so interesting to me is that he has been cast as sort of the screw up kid that constantly needed dads and friends to bail him out, right? And there's so much more to his story. There's so much more to his story than his bouts with addiction, than his stumbles and his failures.
But I don't want to grant him too much grace just because. Do you remember the outrage when they saw Malia Obama with a cigarette?
That's right. I remember that.
And so I've been seeing a lot of discourse to granting a lot of grace to Hunter Biden and giving him the space to talk about his addiction in a very human and a human way where we should have public understanding that we wrap around him. And I think that is true, but we would never grant that kind of freedom to a Black child, or we need to remember this moment. And when there are Black children who struggle with drug addiction,
right. That's right.
Give them the same grace.
That's right. That's right.
Let's see.
And that right there, that is the quiet part out loud. You thought it was all the spicy stuff that Hunter said. No, it's what Dr. Collins just said, is that all the grace that we are willing to afford Hunter, take that same energy and that same grace the next time you see, the Black child of someone of note in a similar situation where they're struggling with addiction, et cetera, et cetera. Our thanks to Dr. Jonathan Collins of Columbia University, a More Perfect Union political contributor, for joining us, helping us separate the fact from the fiction. In this case, helping us identify something that is spicier than Ghanaian jollof. Come back again soon, my friend. You're listening to and streaming a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Ian Smith joins us in our next hour. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The 700 Marines deployed to Los Angeles during June immigration protests are leaving today. Black Mayor Karen Bass calls it a victory.
Our voices were heard. They're not trained in crowd control. They're trained to fight on foreign lands, and hopefully they will be going back to defend our nation.
The Pentagon also recently pulled 2,000 National Guard troops, though remain inside federal buildings. A corrections officer at Allegheny County Jail in Pennsylvania, Brian Davis, is suspended after a viral video showed him